Hello everyone, it's Sylvie. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good. So, I recently got hooked on Marseille tarot and I need to learn everything about it. I was planning to title this video like Marseille for May or something like that, but it has just this second occurred to me that if I think that is like cute and snappy, Marseille for May, I'm probably not the only person to have thought that. So if there's some kind of like pre-existing, I don't know, May Marseille thing out there, I promise I'm not trying to copy anyone or like not credit anyone. I just thought it was a pretty obvious alliteration that sounded cute. So anyway, so basically I'm going to focus on Tarot de Marseille during the next month in May, and obviously beyond that. But I don't know, I'm just really feeling the Marseille mood. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a couple of decks, a couple of books, and I'm just going to, I guess, talk you through, show off what I plan on working with, and like put it out there to give me some semblance of accountability, because I feel like if I make a video talking about it, I am more likely to do the thing. This is the Squid Cake Tarot de Marseille. This is the mass market version. I mentioned this in my Aries season favourites video, but I was feeling very wobbly in general, have been over the last, well, long time, but over the last few weeks in particular, and tarot and my practice kind of fell by the wayside, and I ended up reaching for the Squid Cake Marseille quite a lot just because it's so cute, and I tend to do a lot of like self-soothing almost by shuffling cards. I guess who needs a fidget spinner when you have a deck close to hand? But yeah, this is a very kind of light-hearted deck, but without being too like sugary, and I found myself really enjoying the pip cards. I think because they're not scenic, I found that they weren't like overwhelming me, and like when you lay several out, the repetition of the patterns was like it's weirdly soothing to look at. I don't know if soothing is the right word, but it's not as like overwhelming, and it's just not as much as a lot of other decks are with like scenic pips. So yeah, I ended up reading the guidebook for the Squid Cake the whole way through in its entirety, kind of following the progression of the suits. This is actually a really nice little guidebook considering how like small it is. Like you can see how physically tiny the deck is, and this is not a very, it's not the most in-depth guidebook in the world, but it's really enjoyable to read. You have some keywords and like a function of each of the majors. So this is the Empress. Creativity rules confidence, and her function is that she supervises. And I just read it through cover to cover basically, especially going through the minors and kind of following that progression. I really enjoyed it. And that was it. I was instantly like infatuated with the Tarot de Marseille. So yeah, new fixation unlocked. And I also treated myself to this. This is the Dinosaures de Marseille. This is a more, okay, let's struggle with the box. So these are the backs. How lovely are those? So the art style for this is more like traditional, I feel. But it's also full of dinosaurs, and the majors have been renamed. So we've still got the numerals at the top, but they've been renamed. So this is the volcano instead of the tower. Credit for me even knowing about this deck goes to Kelly Bear, who has made a couple of videos featuring this deck. And if I hadn't watched them, I wouldn't have known that this deck even like existed. But I love it. I keep having to pause because of really loud vehicles outside, but because I'm used to them, I'm worried that I'm not noticing them half the time, and it's going to be really annoying to watch. So I apologise if that's the case, but what was I saying? I love this deck. It's really fun. It's really whimsical with the dinosaurs. Yeah, it's great. It's lovely. I'm certain I had something else to say, but it's completely just like flown out of my head. The suits have been renamed, redrawn. So we've got crinoids, ferns for the swords. These are the cups. Equivalent is the crinoids, and then you've got these like aquatic dinosaurs, ferns and flying dinosaurs for the sword suit. I think this is called the suit of fossils, and it's carnivorous dinosaurs for the fire suit, and then eventually, here we go, it's ammonites for the pentacles suit, and I think it's herbivore dinosaurs that have been depicted. It's really fun. The guidebook for this again is really slim, but it does kind of tell you which dinosaurs are in here. This also comes with the additional cards, the planets and the virtues, to use this as a Minchiate deck. I probably butchered that pronunciation. That's something I'm setting aside for the time being because I feel like that would be too much all at once. So this is my second Tarot de Marseille deck. You may notice that neither of them are traditional style Marseille decks. That's because I am who I am. And who I am doesn't like artwork that I don't like to look at. These are just really cute, and the traditional style Tarot de Marseille are simply not as cute to look at. There are a few that I like the look of, but I'm not going to make that purchase until I feel like I'm a little bit more comfy with Marseille and like value the system enough to spend the money on another deck that I'm not like obsessed with the aesthetics of. So I do also have a couple of books to study with. Basically, I scoured the internet for some reviews and recommendations for good like beginner books for Tarot de Marseille, and these came up pretty frequently, as well as a few others that I didn't get yet but are on my list. I think that because Marseille is a French system, as well as being a bit less popular than the Rider-Waite-Smith in the first place, there isn't a huge amount of English language books available about it, which I suppose does at least narrow my wish list down a bit. But anyway, I bought these two. So I have this one. This is Tarot the Open Reading. And I think this is how I want to start reading with Marseille, rather than learning the more like set meanings, because that's what I do with Rider-Waite-Smith, and I want to do something a little bit different. And kind of going back to what I said earlier about basically feeling like shit recently, I really liked trying to read Marseille without kind of knowing what I was reading. It felt way less anxiety inducing. And I also would like to have a kind of different format of reading in my cartomancy toolkit, I guess. So the open reading is when you kind of just like make sense of the cards from like directionality and like the like repeating motifs and stuff in the cards, which just seems really interesting. Also quite like intuition based maybe. I've mentioned before that I feel like I don't have intuition, which is obviously like not true, but I'm looking forward to kind of trying to read in that way. But of course, because I am the person that I am, I also bought this. This is The Way of Tarot, the spiritual teacher in the cards. And this does include set meanings for Marseille, but also, as you can tell from how like chunky this book is, it's a lot more than just card meanings. This was one of the most highly recommended, or at least most talked about, books on Marseille. And I'm the kind of person that likes to have a big reference book on hand. I'm lucky I have the shelf space to hold them. I know that like PDFs and ebooks exist, but they're really just like not the same. And I say this as somebody who loves to read ebooks. I'm not like a paper books over ebook snob. I just, when it comes to like reference material, if possible, I really prefer to have like a physical book for it. I'm a post-it note, sticky tab devotee. What can I say? So yeah, I've flicked through this book since I got it a couple of days ago. It has loads in it. It's got like a bible of interpretations, but the thing that I thought would be really valuable about this is here, the tarot 2x2. So it's got like all the meanings and like history on the cards. but then it goes through the trumps and like how you can read them together in different pairs, as well as just how to read different kinds of numbers of cards and spreads generally, and I thought that would be really interesting and really useful. So the kind of plan is I'm going to treat this as like a study and read the whole thing, and then this is going to be a bit more of a reference book, at least for the time being, but obviously nothing ever goes entirely according to plan, especially something as personal and subjective as tarot, so I guess I will see what happens. I'm not planning to give up Rider-Waite-Smith by any means. I will still be doing my daily pull. I think I'm still going to do my daily pull with a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I switch out my deck to do my like daily draws with every month, every calendar month, and I think I'm going to still do that with a Rider-Waite-Smith based, just because the way I've done a video on this if you haven't seen it, but the way I kind of record them is in like a diary, and I feel like mixing systems but then comparing them would feel strange. So I think I'm going to stick Rider-Waite-Smith with that. I will still do readings with my collection of Rider-Waite-Smith decks, but I really want to lean into Marseille while I'm excited about it and kind of focus on it for a bit. So that is the plan. So I think that's all I had to say on the Marseille front for the time being. I kind of just wanted to talk through what all my plans are and yeah, put it out there, I guess. Like I say, this is kind of to hold myself accountable as much as anything. So if you are a Marseille reader and you have any advice for somebody who is just starting to learn the Marseille system, please do let me know, especially somebody who, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I don't know that I know everything about the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. I don't think that's even possible, but I'm like fairly comfy with it and have a good understanding of it. But this is like, it feels very new. I've never really read with pip cards before. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.